Once your painting has completely dried, then we can start removing the tape. So I'm going to start with the edges where I created the border that's holding it to the messy mat, and I want to carefully pull off the tape. I don't want to end up ripping my paper, so I'm just going to do this in little pieces. Notice that there is a white line underneath where the tape is, which is the tape resist. Once you take all the tape off, you can go ahead and recycle the tape and then make sure that your name is on the back once you flip it over. For the areas that have salt, I'm going to rub off the salt using a little circular motion with my finger. Then you can just shake the salt off onto the messy mat. You can also decide to leave the salt on there if you prefer it there. I just want to get some of it off so it doesn't end up falling off later, and the ones that are really stuck can stay there. So just the loose pieces of salt I'm rubbing. Then you can go ahead and take a Sharpie and outline the watercolor shapes. Creating a black outline will really contrast the bright colors of the watercolor. So I'm just going around the edge of each shape and giving it an outline. Next, we're going to connect the empty spaces between the shapes and create a border. Notice how I'm just connecting the line here, and I'm going to continue doing that all around the edges. In the corner, I'm drawing 2 lines to create a corner. If you want to do this first with a pencil and then go over it with a Sharpie, that's probably a good idea so that you get it exactly right. The next step is adding shading. We're going to add shading along the white sections where it meets the border. So when I'm shading, I'm pressing hard with my pencil to get a dark value, and then I'm letting go to get a lighter value. Before you do this on your final project, we're going to practice a little bit first. You can practice using shading by creating value. So remember, value is the amount of dark or light in a color, and you can get that by either pressing really hard on a pencil or a material, and when you let go and press lightly, then you get a light value. So practice creating dark value to match this graduated value scale. So it starts out the darkest and it gradually gets lighter in each square. Notice that the last one is still not white, it's light gray. Then you can practice the gradated value scale. So that's not working on an individual square, but it's that the color blends all the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and try mine. Remember, this is the darkest, so I'm trying to press as hard as I can to get the darkest value out of the pencil. Then when you move on to the next square, it should be slightly lighter. So you're going to start dark and get lighter in each square. I'm coloring this in, but I'm going to go back over it and add more value. So I want it to be just slightly lighter than the square before it. For the gradated value scale, instead of working square by square, you can just blend the value all together. So again, I'm starting out with the darkest value by pressing the hardest on my pencil, and I'm gradually letting go of the pressure. And I'm gonna go back over it and add more value, but I'm just starting out this way. So I'm letting go and barely pressing down with the pencil now. And I want to go back and make it darker and make the values blend more evenly. So I'm going back over it. I'm going to eventually bring it all the way down to this side. Once you finish practicing value shading, then you can move on to adding the shading on your artwork. You should add dark values around the edge where the border is. So on the inside of the border, start with shading dark, so you get a dark value, and then gradually shade lighter into the middle. Remember that you can blend this with your finger by rubbing in a circular motion. You can also do the same thing with a tissue. Just see what works best for you. You can always add more shading if you don't think you have enough, or you can erase and try again if you don't like the way it looks. And then you can also add a little bit of shading around the edge of each shape. By adding shading around the edge of each shape, it will give the illusion of a 3D effect, and it will make the shapes look like they're a little raised off the surface of the paper. I still have some shading to do in the middle here, but for the most part, all of the areas where the white would meet the border are shaded. So I just need to do some shading in the middle. I hope you have fun adding some finishing touches to your watercolor tape resist design. I can't wait to see how they turn out.